हिमाचल पंजाब राजस्थान हरियाणा यूपी उत्तराखंड बिहार गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ आंध्रा तमिल केरला वंगा विंध हिमाचल तावी यमुना गंगा सरस्वती कृष्णा ब्रह्मपुत्रा उच्छल जल्दी तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जयो गाथा सर्वधर्म नागरिक भारत भाग्य विधाता गण मंगल नायक जय हे भारत संविधान भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय भारत वंदे मातरम सुजलम सुफलम मलयां शीतलम सहस्या श्यामलम वंदे मातरम वंदे मातरम। जय भारत जय संविधान। Okay dear friends, back to you again my certification for information. This is national certification, this is professional certification fellow of Institution of Engineers, and this is international certification. This is international professional engineer validated to September 2020. And friends, in continuation to my talks regarding field engineering, we call also professional engineering on construction, designs, contracts and quality safety. All coverage of a scope among all these disciplines, without which no project can be worked upon and delivered. I conducted many talks, many issues so far in this topic or this subject of construction designs, involving various issues and role of engineers. Actually, I am calling role of site engineer and site engineer, as I explained earlier. It doesn't mean site engineer working on site, but those engineers who are linked to site directly or indirectly in whatever way to support site or to work or lead site, both ways. A person who leads sites is actually site engineer, but those who support that site engineer are also to some extent site engineers, maybe 25%, 40%, 50%, because without their support no site engineer can work. Site engineer or field engineer or production engineer in civil engineering gets supports, draws supports from designs, from planning, from safety, from engineering, from quality, from planning and from commerce. From all these sections, that lead person or a frontline person gets support, only then something can move. You have to take it in a different manner. Nobody is in isolation. No one. Isolation got no meaning in interactive world. World of engineering is very much interdisciplinary and interactive in every section. Even if you work in design, you cannot work in isolation. You have to depend upon external factors in addition to internal factor and personal factors. Similarly, in planning, you cannot work in isolation. You have to depend upon feedback from project, feedback from site people, feedback from design people, and feedback from other consultants or experts. Also, when you work in quality, you are also not in isolation. You cannot say that I am independent of everybody because I am quality person. No, you cannot say that. You are a quality person because you are more responsible. You are having added responsibility to audit and support that person who is leading side. We have to take it a different manner because all these professionals have got only one milestone destination, and that is delivery of product, delivery of whatever project that is. That is main criteria. Safety person, all those persons who are responsible on contract or discipline wise, from position of head of that discipline to down to discipline engineer or discipline subordinate, everybody has direct or indirect role to certain percentage of total responsibility. That point we have to keep in mind. If we have an intention to professionalize project engineering, we have to get into this consideration at top level. Quality, time and cost, we know these factors are basics, and other than this is scope. What is the scope of that work, what are risk factors, what is planning there, and how to monitor that work, how to communicate whatever happens there, how to resolve disputes, and how to arrange resources. All these factors of course constitute management responsibilities. So many factors around it are there. Risks are very important, budgeting is very important, planning is very important, safety has to be covered at priority level, quality has to be induced in higher than, actually more than what is expected of. So projects are very complicated, and in case when these are fast track projects, we have added responsibility, we have, you can say, supplementary responsibility that should be understood. Projects move according to contract, according to time, and according to priorities. These could be green or brown projects, it doesn't make a difference. As far as delivery of quality is concerned, when we say quality product, what does it mean? When we say quality project, what does it mean? These definitions must be evolved by ourselves. You cannot depend upon definitions that are given by other people. Yes, they may give a definition depending on their philosophical thinking, depending on their own creations of mind, but real definitions are those which are empirical one, means which are drawn by application of experience, attained knowledge. That definition is practical one. So what is quality, what is safety, what is planning, what is design, what is prosecution, execution, all that these points are very responsible from initial stage to end stage of project or completion of project. That is very important to be understood, and until we understand that, or I understand, or you understand that as an engineer, we cannot have glimpse, we cannot have total understanding of project. We cannot keep in isolation that I am engineer, I am technocrat, I have to work only on technical way. That time has gone. It is interactive world, it is professional world. When we say engineer is a professionalism, engineer is in profession, this means professional engineer or chartered engineer, or whatever you can say title of that person, not exclusively educated only or trained only, but experienced one, and that experience is more knowledgeable than what you understand by academics. Because academics gives you basis, but project knowledge, experience gets you into command world, into a world that actually gives you verification and corroboration. Yes, whatever you had learned either in theory and tutorials to work in field, that must be understood, and every project for an engineer is a kind of syllabus, it's a kind of a course or program, you can say, because every project is different. No two projects are similar until they are on same building, same project, but every project design is different, foundations are different, superstructures are different, uses are different, land uses are different, prices are different, technology is different, and way of working is different, quality standards are different, safety standards are different, planning standards are different. All these criteria we have to understand in explicit clarification, and this clarity is very much important to support your knowledge, to keep you ahead of your time. And if you are ahead of your time means you are a visionary person, and vision is very important in engineering discipline, engineering field. If you don't have vision, you cannot do anything, you cannot lead yourself, so forget leading others. Job of engineer is to lead whole world. If you lead whole world on that project, you can say that you can achieve that project. That is very important point where various roles lie together. Role, as I explained, we conferred earlier, low role of engineers from design on, before that from is called, you can say, production time, design time, and all times whatever stages are included, initiation, then feed, then others designs, then so many stages up to contracting, and then final completion and use of that project and maintenance of that project. Those stages are very important from professional viewpoint. We have to keep all these factors into our mind, that engineer's role is not limited to discipline alone. Interactive role is very significant, very much powerful, very much dominating in field, because your job you know, your discipline job you know, but you have to deal with those, coordinate with those having different disciplines. For example, you are a civil engineer, you have to deal with your own discipline, structural engineer, architectural engineering, and you have to deal with other disciplines. For example, it's mechanical engineering, HVAC or AC, or you can say electrical, plumbing, or you can say steel production is mechanical engineering, elevators, and also you can say decorative world, and you can say other ironmongery, for example, and furnishing items, and also many other disciplines like building management, like security and fire suppression, and many others depending on types of plants. Sometimes you have to deliver product duly furnished, so those furnishing items also you have to take into your consideration. It's not simple building you have to deliver, sometimes you have to deliver turnkey project. That person occupant comes and starts using that project, turnkey projects. That point you have to learn and understand in addition to your basics or fundamentals of your professional engineering. Whatever you learned in university, that must be verified, that must be expanded in field, and that expansion continues. There is no stop end to that expansion. You can move to your whole life. So role keeps on changing from time to time. Today you are in initiation of role, then you have to go up a peak of role gradually, and then down to somewhere else in some other discipline or interactive discipline, and you have to aspire knowledge from other disciplines by referring yourself and to references of those to yourself, and those are called various kinds of discipline in drawing, schematic drawings, key plans and key processes, and also you can say those disciplines specifications and complete drawings and standard drawings, project specifications and codal given details, and all those who are submitting to you these project documents, which include all details, that knowledge must be drawn, aspired for your use. And if you cannot do that, you cannot rise in your profession. You will stick to just lowest position forever, and that cannot help you. If you have a hunger to learn, your thirst to quench by learning more and more, then there is no end in profession of engineering. Do not go to only definition given by statute, but consider definition yourself, that you are responsible for world development, for your nation development, for your professional development, for everything. And professional development is also very important, because that is part of your experience, that is part of your submission, that I am competent, I have consistency of knowledge with competency, I can lead profession, I can lead you guys, I can lead project, I can lead whatever assignment is given to me. That is more and more important, rather than just confining your mind, limiting your vocabulary, inculcated into your mind by your professors and teachers in those days of your education and your joined university and continued studies. That was very limited knowledge, and that knowledge is book knowledge. That is not very reliable knowledge. In case you can say kind of reference knowledge, but real knowledge you have to earn field when you are a practical person. That is very important. Means field knowledge continues forever. Every day you get something from others and you give something to others. That exchange of information, exchange of real knowledge is very valuable, because you know what you are watching and what you are understanding, what thing is right or not right at all. That knowledge is very powerful, and that makes you a decision maker, that makes you lead ahead, that makes you a power to vision, that makes you what you can do, what you can think, how far can you move, how far can you look ahead. You have to look ahead always. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, you have to keep ahead on your project, and that is where knowledge and experience work together. So means you have to define your role yourself. Role of an engineer on site. What is role? As I asked earlier, I told you earlier also, your role you have to define. You are given a project. You have to go through project in totality and understand. Of course, not in details exactly in beginning, but at least you have to know composition and contents of that project if you want to move that project. Only then you can move ahead. This was explained to you. I do not want to repeat all that again and again, but I explained to you some stages in planning from consultant point of view, from owner point of view, some stages in execution, some stages, various stages I explained to you, and I just repeat what I explained to you is in the project management, because that is root of everything which you have to understand. Project management is not just a joke that we can say anything. But it's also, I just remind about something, that means which hyperlinks I put in that document. With that documents available somehow on your skills, project requirements, revisions in brief talks. I said in project management concept and its necessity, and then project management, and I should say brief analysis to understand how to integrate project plan with required knowledge areas and structure sequences of project management knowledge area requirements, risk response plan, risk management plan, communication, initiation project initial charter, constituents, planning, development of project plan, major processes, constituents. Within planning, knowledge area integration, development plan, client around the meeting date held, release bid documents and bidder or tender meeting date, like this. All these processes are there, and then I have given some forward on this, then evaluation society, etc. All these texts were given in that. I'm not going to repeat that. Project management concept itself there. Then I'll repeat this one just to share our professional experience with engineers. I am very pleased to initiate series of actual project management requirements that need understanding and attention by general and specialist engineer. Project management subject has been ignored by many budding as well as practicing engineers in light of misconception that it is a separate discipline. Professional engineering spectrum requires a good understanding about degree of attainability of engineering management in whatever branch of engineering. Subdisciplines of engineering design project are well required to be duly integrated with whole spectrum of project management decision and implementation process, without which role of analysis and design engineering go futile to a major extent, and those who do miss management principles and their interactions followed by implementations as well as monitoring find it almost difficult to sail smoothly in turbulent waves. Many publications have been placed and have been issued by various specialized institutions such as PMP, PMT, based on general understanding about general management of project. While these publications aren't customized to real civil engineering projects, as evidenced by excessive explanation, formatting, designs process that make subject entirely cumbersome. In understanding the approach, it's important to know about all aspects of project management rather than trying to dip into voluminous books that almost scares you out of busy schedule of every practicing and professional engineer. It's almost true that various sequences of output as well as output on various processes and knowledge areas do not comply with real requirement try to mislead engineers. The attempt is made here to bring a few sheets of paper. Major requirements would certainly meant for any or all projects during all phases of project life cycle. Practical experience has been put on papers for budding engineers to learn about virtual management and not available in single chapter elsewhere. It has to be noted that value of management of projects depends on individual knowledge, commitment and dedication for projects. A spirit of management and proficiency of leadership, power attainment are required to operate all targets of project from feed to closing out. And then project manager means, what do I understand by that is very simple terms. Application of our knowledge enriched with advanced skills, organization, environmental factors and processes, tools, techniques to deliver specific results or services to client or customer in time in line with project delivery. All the deliverables requirements, the root of project management plan, execution and change control using leading and organizing potential, all integrated with what the basic fundamentals are there, basic criteria or considerable factors are there. For example, let's say what is the scope means, what is scope, what and quality issue. Scope you can say is very important. Then second is quality, and you can say then time. After that, following up cost, risk, human resources, procurement, communication plans. So you can say scope is number one, what you have to do. Then you can say quality, what sort of quality you plan to do, what time is with you, means you have to cover that whole project delivery. And then cost means budget requirements and what risks you are expecting from this project, and what human resources would be required, and procurement issues concerned, and on top all this communication plans. These are many factors that must be considered, and there are other factors as well. And then you can say value addition and advanced quality, and all those can be included with that, a supplementary one. Then brief analysis to understand how to integrate project plan with required knowledge areas, and that's very important. You can say construction projects spectrum relevant to civil engineering, special disciplines requiring field project management defined briefly as an exercise of doing total prospective processes applicable for use to deliver agreed objectives to end user, consumer or client or owner of project. And projects are defined as a temporary plan or scheme for a generally permanent existence of some or any specific objective for a certain specific period of purpose of service, and duration of project to vary between months to years and also to decades as well, depending on magnitude of project. Then you can say project can belong to all classes of engineering specialties that affect nation building as well as meet international requirements. Project management is a broad term used to define project from inception to delivery stages and maintenance thereafter. After project is delivered, term changes to operation that could be a part of maintenance or consumer deliveries or to render regular public service. Project and products are different terms. Project and products are different terms applied to different status. Project is defined as a temporary execution, while product is a regular manufacturing process requiring operational arrangements. Continuation of future products depends upon competitive market, economy, and products sustainability by adopting further developments. But project is entirely independent of such factor, but to evolve fully supporting system for delivery of requirements so that it can be used as a permanent objective successfully to be used as production infrastructure mechanism. There are certainly projects of all types in market or industrial industries or organizations in this discussion. Intention is to talk about project that deals with civil engineering industries, and you can say there are types of industries which can be client or government or private owner or ministries or international organizations, security related projects, local self-government projects, statutory companies, government companies, public-private partnerships, non-government organizations, petrochemical industries, heavy industries, industries of all sorts, real estate, housing of all sorts, commercial, institutional, contracting companies or entities, private promoters, private individuals. What type of products are actually manageable? Government versus government and client, you can say government as a client awarding to contractors and government as promoter executing self through departments and organizations executing self either for promotions or to meet market demands or to make updates. Organizations working as contractors for all classes, all disciplines. Studies required for project are entirely different. Evaluation of any project starts with economic requirements, understanding of variable viability of in future. Feasibility study tells whether or not proposal can be adopted depending on location, availability, or meeting development demands. Then feasibility studies take its own time, and after successful completion of studies and consequential declaration of project and schedule, demand, suggestions, budget has to be arranged by client or whatsoever would be owner of project. Funding is required based on study in budgetary studies so that further follow-up process in good scale can be commenced without provisions of budget data, and certainly project cannot move further. Feed or front engineering design documents publication defining thorough requirements of project designs, technicalities unresolved, involved and required specifications from designers or from contractors. This stage is too technical and requires personnel with spatial knowledge and spatial potential. Hundreds of decisions are required to taken as policy of project and designing of project with schematic details for development documents followed up by further bid documents. This stage is subsidiary to feed that requires in-depth technical detailing for purpose of top liner execution. On front, hundreds of decisions are required for implementation and to cost effect, and project deliveries can be made based on thorough studies, decision making, implementation, monitoring, corrections, updating, reviews, provisions of additional budgets, absorbing or mitigating possible risk involved with all procedures for project. I repeat this paragraph. Project deliveries can be made based on thorough studies, decision making, implementation, monitoring, corrections, updating, reviews, provisions of additional budgets, absorbing or mitigating possible risks involved with whole procedures or project stages. According to management structure, specific terms are used to draw supports to manage projects successfully in a professional way, though these are not least but exclusively refers to as guiding principles for whatever professional interested to understand what management is all about on whatever small or considerable size project. Project management includes application of understood knowledge areas founded on certain technical processes and tools and technique forms for planned successful execution of all project activities as defined below. Certain knowledge areas within management structures are as follows, and that can be, you can say, scope. As I discussed before, it is total processes project decisions which include our initiation, number one, then planning, number two, then execution or implementation, number three, and within that is monitoring and updates, and completion or closing out, followed by maintenance and operation. So project goes to operation through these stages. Project stages are, you may say, project stages are initiation, planning, execution or implementation, monitoring and updates, completion and closing out. Closing out means project is completed, followed by maintenance means project is being maintained and used, and then final completion, or you can say discharge of contract, and then operation stage start. Project stops at final completion with the overlap of operation between mechanical completion and final completion, or practical completion and final completion, and operation continues forever. This means structural sequences of project management knowledge areas requirements are scope of charter, as I explained yesterday what charter is all about, then quality standards to be achieved on deliveries that we discussed about, time significant factors governing project decisions we talked of, and then we talked of cost affecting all parties involved in project, then risk factors affecting all above, and risk impacts due to change in scope, risk impacts due to change in quality standards, and then you can say risk impacts due to changes in schedule time, then risk impacts due to changes in cost, risk impacts due to partly unknown scope, then risk response plans, risk management plans for the what risk response, risk extra. We had discussed human resources, then it is cost element, scope, required plans, move on it, motivation, mobility, and then procurement delivers in matters of it like that. These were the then communication, transparency, all these are the means we have to understand this. Communication, transparency, and all these are parts there which are very important one. So now we are going to discuss part 5, that's a project stage. The project, so we start with your initiation, project charter constituents we talked of, then we talked of planning, and we talked of project stage, the project include continue, then we talked of client's responsibility, and we talked of bidder's responsibility, then we talked of then execution implementation process, and we had talked about this. Then we talked about contractors meeting deadlines to submit various deliverables as part of contract performance, and then we talked about monitoring and updates continue. We didn't talk about this also actually. We have to start contractors meeting deadlines to submit various deliverables. So we will speak about this execution and implementation processes. This is very important as a constituent role of all engineers, where all engineers are involved. A contractor meeting with deadline to submit various deliverables. This is where I will start with now. It is very important. Let me see how it works. This part we are going to discuss the contracting. Okay. And now say contractor meeting deadline to submit various deliverables as part of contract performance. Contract performance, now this is actually related to quality system also, safety system. I'm just intermingling two systems, project management and you may say, what I'm going to do is that going to mix up with this project management and quality system, both intermingled, and I'm trying to combine these two today. Well, let me start now and talk this initially. This is a receipt of contract award as we discussed yesterday. I say receipt of contract award. Receipt of contract award means got letter from engineer or honor the inspection, review of all contract documents, kick-off meetings, announcement of project references, authorizing project budget, authorizing project manager, constitution of project team, cost control, codes circulations, project development plan drafting, meeting with the engineer consultants to discussing strategic planning, site visits, site take over appointment of contractual start date, proposals for various vendors and subcontractors, submission of proposed key personnel to engineer, consultants for approval, mobilization, plan submission, site survey, site soil investigation for validation of soil investigation reports, then provision of all site offices, provision of all facilities, site fencing, site watch and ward, site fire prevention, labor shelters, labor camping, transportation, food and medical provisions, safety provisions, submission of safety plans, submission of quality plans, submission of project management plan, various submissions methods or procedures with engineer consultants, and following processes shall be effected regularly. So let us see this first. And also before this there was client, or what client had to, let's see. So let us see, it was award of contract, declaration of appointment. So means what client would do and what contractor do, these are interrelated. I'll just for I'll say what client had to do. Award of contract declaration means before what I say, I'm just repeating what we actually talked of, so they will be clear about background doing with award, dealing with awards of contract. This is from client or owner or engineer, you may say. Award of contract declaration by appointment, issuing letter of intent, definition of contract dates, definition extent of liquidated damages, adjustment of prices in agreement with contractor, contract amount or price, announcement of engineer designated as contractual engineer, definition of powers and authorities of engineer, announcement of all specialist engineer, in case engineer is from client engineering department, announcement of the consulting engineers, date of kick-off meeting, dates by which all contract documents to be issued, appointment of date of site handover to contractor, and dates by which remaining scope drawings to be issued in case of construction contract, final time schedule requirements for initial presentation, priorities list of certain project areas, dates by which other project plans are required, dates by which design documents are required, requirements of mobilization plans, requirement of execution methods, statements, requirements of engineer's office, location in contractor's premises, to surveillance and monitor contractor's design team, and requirement of performance bond from contractor, requirement of third party insurance, and requirements of documents for release of whatever contractual permitted advance sum against bank security. These points we had talked of in details on, I can say, suitable explanatory degree to reasonable explanatory degree. And then I am now reaching to contractor level, and that is meeting. Now I'll speak about something for contract performance degree. A contract performance requirement means what are points involved in that, as I just now talked to you before this paragraph of engineer's role. Now contractor role, you can see, so that was engineer's role, means contractual engineer's role. Now this role is involves contracting performance, because a contractor what has to do, basically elementary minimum receipt of contract money. You have to receive documents, contract award, you receive it, inspection and review of all contract documents. Then kick-off meeting means you have to go through complete contract documents, you have to study them thoroughly. You study or you get support from someone, that is up to you. Project manager, site agent, project engineer, or whoever is responsible for that, in capacities of purchasing, in capacities of quality, in capacities of safety, in whatever your role is, You are ultimately responsible for all acts to be done by others because you are site responsible engineer. So you have everything to do then to meet clients. Now kick-off meeting means announcement of project references, then authoring project budget, then authorizing project manager, and constitution of project team, cost control, code circulation as a part of planning and control, then project development plan or drafting, then meeting with the engineer consultants to discussing stages of planning, site visits, site takeover, appointment of contractual start date, proposal for various vendors and subcontractors, submissions of proposed key personnel to engineer consultants for approval, mobilization of plan submission, site survey, site soil investigation for validation of soil investigation reports, provisions of all site offices, provisions of all facilities, site fencing, site watch and ward, site fire prevention, labor shelters, labor camping, transportation, food, medical provisions, safety provisions, and submissions of safety plan, submissions of quality plan, submissions of project management plan, various submissions methods or procedures with engineers, consultants. These are minimum roles that required to be played with, to be, you can say, implemented, worked upon as project activities. These are very important, so I repeat once again because it's a little different. You must understand various roles: receipt of contract award, inspection and review of all contract documents, kick-off meeting, announcement of project references, authorizing project budget, authorizing project manager, constitution of project team, cost control codes circulation, project development plan drafting, meeting with engineer consultant to discussing strategic planning, for discussing strategic planning, site visits, site takeover, appointment of contractual start date, proposal for various vendors and subcontractors, submission of proposed key personnel to engineer consultants for approval, mobilization plan submission, site surveys, site soil investigation, to validate soil investigation reports and design parameters, provisions of all site offices, provisions of all facilities, site fencing, site watch and ward, and site fire prevention, labor shelters, worker shelters, and workers camping, transportation, food, medical provisions, safety provisions, submission of safety plan, submission of quality plan, submission of project management plan, various submissions methods or procedures with engineers, consultants. Then communication channel or processes involved by relevant parties. This was called, I'll say, following processes shall be effected regularly during execution at defined activities, interval for initiations as well as for update for revalidations, records of all live services, existing services, drawings from statutory or local bodies, and review and diversion procedures of all such services, dissemination of project scope to all relevant personnel and vendors, correspondences, site memos, site instructions, engineers instructions, emails, phonic discussions, confirmations, CV approvals, general meeting, minutes, contractual meeting minutes, specialist meeting minutes, coordination meetings minutes, foreman meeting, technicians meeting, video conferencing, video records, computer records, work photos, vendor submission and approvals, planning, schedule submission and approval. This I'm talking of planning. That was the other one. Now that was mobilization and work. Planning, schedule, submissions and approvals, regularly organization chart, job or role description of various personnel, budgetary cost. Engineering is design, deliver, submission, review and approval, material submission and approvals, drawing submissions and approvals, general formal reviews and approvals, inspection approvals, all documents and drawings approvals, registers, technical queries, engineering queries, document center control, working and workshop drawings, all site issues, daily record of works, concrete records, cube records, formwork records, reinforcing bar records, structural steel records, all store records, laboratory, this means material testing management, engineering training records as method statements, staff personality development and team building and upgradation, progress management and monthly payment certification and valuations, all quality management records and filing system, quality training records, then all HSC training and execution records, all accidents or injury records, safety drills records, toolbox stocks and start card and prevention from hazards, keeping site tidy, safety incentive awards, safety walks, best engineers and foremen awards, best workmen awards, all changes on walks, all red line markups, all as-built records, all dossiers, all data sheets, all sealed documents, all involved certificates, all non-compliance records, all remedial actions records, punch list inspection and records, site walkthrough records, snakes record in their implementation, defects records and rework, requirement records, rework, inspections, removal of major defects, lessons learned from mistakes, equality audits reports from external sources and from internal sources. So this is a, you can say, sea of responsibilities for contractor. We will not remember everything which I did, so I repeat just for another 2 minutes. Receipt of contract award, inspection and review of all contract documents, kick-off meeting, announcement of project references, authorizing project budget, authorizing project manager, constitution of project team, cost control code circulation, project development plan drafting, meeting with engineer consultants to discussing strategy planning, site visits, site talks, site takeover, appointments of contractual start date, proposal for various vendors, proposal for subcontractors, submission of proposed key personnel to engineer for approval, consultants for approval, mobilization plan submission, site survey, site soil investigation for validation of soil investigating reports, provisions of all site offices, provisions of facilities, all facilities, site fencing, site watch and wall, site fire prevention, labor shelters, workers camping, labor camping or live camp, transportation, food, medical provisions, safety provisions, submissions of safety plan, submissions of quality plan, submissions of project management plan, various submission methods of procedure with engineer consultants, and records of all live services, drawings from statutory or local bodies, reviews and diversion to relevant personnel when vendors, correspondence, review and diversion procedure of all such services, I missed a line, sorry. Records of all live services, drawings from statutory or local bodies, review and diversion procedures of all such services, dissemination of project scope to all relevant personnel and vendors, and correspondences which say site memos, site instructions, engineer's instruction, electronic mails, phonic discussions, confirmation, CV approvals, general meetings, minutes contractual meeting, minutes specialist meetings, minutes coordination meeting, foreman meeting, technicians meeting, video conferencing, video records, computer records, work photos, vendor submissions and approvals, then planning, schedule submissions and approvals, regularly organization chart and job role descriptions of various personal and budgetary controls, and then engineering design, deliverables, submissions, review of approval, material submissions and approvals, drawing submissions and approvals, general format review and approvals, inspection approvals, all documents and drawings approvals, registers, technical queries, engineering queries, document center controls or documents control center, both way you can say, working and shop drawing issues, then site issues, daily records of works, concrete records, cube records, formwork records, reinforcing bar records, structural steel records, all stores records, then laboratory and material testing and management, engineering thinning records as method statements, staff personality development and team building and upgradation, management and monthly payment certificates or valuations, all quality management rewards and filing systems, quality training records, HSC training and execution records, all accidents or injury records, safety drill records, toolbox stocks and start cards, prevention from hazards, keeping site tidy and safety incentive awards, safety walks, best engineers and foreman award, best workman awards, and all changes on works are all red lines markup, all as built records, all dossiers and all data sheets, all sealed documents, all involved certificates, all non-compliance records, all remedial actions records, punch list, inspection records, site walkthrough records, and snacks records and their implementations, defects, rework records and rework, requirement records and rework inspections, removal of major defects and lessons learned from mistakes, quality audits reports from external sources and from internal sources. I think you get what I'm saying. So on behalf of contractor, that contractor personal have a lot of details. I'll now link to that one. Let me do this briefly. That let's move further also a little so that we can move then to quality issues. Monitoring and updates means this continuous process during project life cycle. What's that? Work supervision. Works means all activities, work supervision and monitoring all carried out by all parties concerned. These processes are done as a part of quality assurance or controls, schedule controls, progress or status controls, cost controls, applications of various updates, understanding various non-compliances and non-conformances, understanding risk factors and their implications, mitigation of risk factors, etc. This stage is dominant for pinpointing flaws occurring to project performance as obstacles. Obstacles are required to be eliminated or adjusted for measuring planned values of performance or ascertaining measurement as desired. Let me repeat this. This also very means a titular. This is a kind of titular explanation, not detailed one. And this says monitoring and updates, which is a continuous process During project working cycle, you may say, or life cycle, you may say, whatever you may say, it doesn't make a difference as far as its essence is understood. Work supervision, works means what? All activities on project, whatever discipline, whatever is done, temporary or permanent, whatever, particularly permanent, work supervision, temporary also are supervised, and preparatory works also supervised. So work supervision and monitoring are carried out by all parties concerned. These processes are done as part of quality assurance or quality requirement or quality controls systems. Schedule controls, schedule is planning. Time control, that's called time control. Timeline you may say, but it's actually time control, the schedule control. Then progress or status control. Progress again, it relates to planning. Or status means what status of project is. Status can be online, means it is in line to plan or scheme or schedule, cost or quality. What is the status of all those? Delivery status, construction status, achievement status, milestone status, metal delivery status, all whatever is controllable. Then cost controls, we know it's part of planning. Cost control is not very simple, it's very complicated and detailed one, depends on budgetary provisions, what budget you got, is it moving up or down or online. Then applications of various updates, understanding various non-compliances or non-conformances. Means the non-conformance is very serious issue because you are not working for quality compliance requirement, you are just doing your way, and non-conformance is a big issue. So understanding various non-compliances and non-conformances, understanding risk factors, then their implication, mitigation of risk factors, etc. This stage is dominant for pinpointing flaws occurring to project performances as obstacle. Obstacles are required to be eliminated or adjusted for measuring plant value of performance or ascertaining measurement and desired. The deliverables of this, I'll just talk to deliverables. Now, you may say all deliverables or work done. Work done is deliverable. All deliverables or work done are inspected by contractors, project discipline, site engineer and project or disciplinary quality engineer in all respects to meet requirements. These deliverables would constitute almost all documents as well as that scope required. So, these deliverables are based on details given in documents. What are documents? Or scope document, specification document, code document, other descriptions. These documents require inspections, examination by competent key personnel for submission, authorization. All approved works have to be documented in various approved formats. All or part of deliverables in line with agreed test check percentages are inspected by consultants and engineer on contract or contractor's quality engineer. These deliverables would constitute almost all documents as well as scope required. These documents require inspections, examination by competent engineers, key personnel for approval, authorization for permanent reference. Documentation. All approved works have to be approved and documented in various approved formats and transmitted to executor or contractor for permanent records. All variances are noted. Variations are noted, variances documented, and their adjustments are applied. Corrective works are documented for records. Schedules are regularly revised as updates. Time baselines are either maintained or revised accordingly. Cost baseline also is maintained or revised as case would require. So approvals will talk and what approvals are about. Then work progress, work changes, we'll talk about that. Before that, I'll go to somewhere else in your interest itself, and that is, you can say, let's go to ISO 9001 2015 description. What is new Annex SL platform? Let us understand that. Annex SL platform, that is, you can say, an exposure in ISO 9001 2015 revision, which is now applicable. 2008 has already gone. What does it mean? Because we have to understand quality system first. What actually we are talking of? That is the major point to understand. And I have posted certain URL about that. You can see in text or video URL references to these four pages. I'm sorry, 4 files shall tell you where you can go. This is actually an isolation area, can now be taken up by those people who are not doing anything. Well, what is Annex SL, new Annex SL platform? How it works? I would say Annex SL is a new management system. I'm better stand so I cannot sleep or let me speak about. Annex SL is a new management system format that helps streamline creation of new standards and make implementing multiple standards within one organization easier. So it says a new management system, Annex SL, forms or helps streamline creation of new standards and make implementing multiple standards within one organization easy. Okay. That says it replaces ISO's Guide 83. Means ISO Guide 83 has gone and it is now Annex SL, which provides a base structure and standardized text for management system. Standards management system standards, that is MSS. Guide 83 started to address complaints that may have when integrating current MSS like ISO 9001, ISO 14001 and ISO 7001. While these standards have common elements, they are described and organized differently, making it difficult for organizations to implement multiple standards. Annex SL further addresses these issues by creating a template upon which ISO MSS are to be best in future. And you know what MSS is. MSS is Management System Standards. So it creates SL further addresses these issues by creating a template upon which ISO 9001 MSS are to be built in future, written primarily as a guide to those who draft standards. Core of Annex SL consists of 8 clauses. Core of Annex SL consists of 8 clauses and 4 appendices that encompass a high level structure. High level structure. Essentially shared high level concepts among standards. Shared terms, definitions, and actual shared clause, title, and text. Examples of high level structure covered by Annex SL include areas ranging from support to operations and leadership to planning. This article is from ISO/IEC JTCG Chair and Secretary list. Each structural area touched by Annex SL. Now, Annex SL mandated structures. of building standards specify specificity on discipline specific standard and then discipline specific standard. Both are there. The Annex SL means common structure, terms and text. ISO 9001 and 14001. It can combine two for one. So what says Annex SL solves problem of potential redundancy. Annex SL solves problem of potential redundancy in basic structure for companies wishing to deploy multiple standards. It requires that a time, effort saving common structure be used for recurring quality management. Standard elements, but it allows more specifics to be added for a given area of expertise, environmental or health and safety. Now, who creates XL? Who creates SL? Let us stand a little bit now because I don't want to feel drowsy for whatever purpose it is. I should say that. Let me go down this way. Better. No, I don't want to sleep sometime early morning, means since my sleep is not fulfilled. Well, let us see. Check this chair. Excessive sitting no good for me. Okay, no problem. But what I'm talking of is something you may say. So I'm saying, who created Annex SL? Question is that Annex SL is a product of ISO Technical Management Board (TMB), Joint Technical Coordination Group (JTCG). TMB, which is Technical Management Board, is charged with managing technical processes associated with implementing new technical standards. This includes rules which govern standards creation, checking how process is working, and managing technical committees which construct standards. JTCG, that is Joint Technical Coordination Group, JTCG, reports to TMB and specifically manages activities associated with creating and implementing HMSS. One of its main tasks is to ensure that input from various technical committees associated with each standard are represented. Now, interested in combining 9001 plus 14001 plus 18001, learn about integrated standards. Okay, now we say we'll just keep ourselves. Why is Annex SL is being implemented in standards like ISO 9001, 2015. NXSL shall save organization seeking to adopt MSS. You know what is MSS? I'll just tell you that in past paragraph I tell you something like that. MSS, that is Management System Standards. Management System Standards, right? So we would say Management System Standards. Okay. So it says NXSL shall save organizations seeking to adopt management system time MSS time and cost. MSS time and cost. System standards, you can say. Full form is system standard. Management system standards it is. NXSL shall save organizations seeking to adopt management system time MSS time and management system standards time and cost, because standards such as ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 have similar intents but different structures, text and terminology. They are more difficult to implement together, and while there are tools such as our own integrated standard documentations which helps eliminate this duplication effort by creating an integrated management system or IMS. There has been a call to streamline certification processes for multiple standard adoption. In addition, there is an opportunity for ISO to infuse new concepts across multiple MSS. These concepts include enfranchising customers, suppliers and impacted communities into quality process, shift towards service-oriented businesses, and extension of digital aids to serve what are often geographically and organizationally dispersed works group. An IMS or integrated management system can streamline a business operations by merging different areas of compliance. For example, combining quality, environmental and safety into a single IMS requires less resources and is more likely to succeed than maintaining separate management systems for each. The standards can either be combined or integrated. An integrated management system integrates two or more standards from different disciplines into one. Example, ISO 9001, ISO 14001, OSHA's 18001, OHSAA, occupational health safety. A combined management system combines two or more standards from same discipline into one. Example, ISO 9001, AS 9100. Companies visiting our IMS website integrated standards often request combinations of standards such as quality management, that is ISO 9001, general quality management systems, ISO 13485, medical devices, TS 16949, automotive, or AS 9100, AS 9100, that is aircraft, space and defense, environmental management, ISO 14000 environment management system, Safety management, OSHA's 18001, occupational health and safety, and interested in combining 9001 and 14001 and 18001, learn about integrated standards. Then we say NXSL feature benefits. Let us discuss this also. NXSL feature benefits. As noted, there are many reasons for management system standards MSS writers to adopt foundational NXSL, including eliminating conflicts in MSS platform, means conflicts are gone, eliminating conflicts in MSS platform, faster development of standards, less duplication of concepts, terms and potentially shared text, less low value revisions to common or shared areas, integrating high level common business management goals, issues, needs. So what we say, reasons are, many reasons are there for management system standards. Writers to adopt fundamental NXSL. If you adopt NXSL, you will get many issues. This is eliminating conflicts in MSS platforms, faster development of standards, less duplication of concepts, terms and potentially shared text, less low value revisions to common or shared areas, then integrating high level common business management goals, issues, needs. So conflicts are gone, MSS conflicts are gone, faster development of standards, less duplication of concept, terms and potentially share, and low value variations in common shared areas, and integrating high level common business and management goals. Now NXSL addresses these needs as we discussed. NXSL resolves or addresses these needs by alignment of similar clauses. This in turn fosters easier integration by adopting similar formats and similar terms and definitions. In addition, NXSL addresses key high-level components which are being driven by market forces such as risk management. Means it solves or addresses key high-level components which are being driven by market forces such as, what it does actually, says recognizing reality of more modern methods. Recognizing reality of more modern methods of information dissemination. NXSL outlines additional specific requirements to both documents and communicate quality management system. I repeat, it recognizes reality of more modern methods of information dissemination. NXSL outlines additional specific requirements to both document and communicate quality management system. An example is making sure that there are true work instructions written down for everyone in organization, even if a set of tasks seem obvious. Idea is reasonable since documentation not only helps maintain consistency of tasks between workers, it helps organization plan for growth in adding or replacing resources. This expanded approach to documentation is meant to allow and support other means of viewing, storing, revising and distributing documentation such as via internal and external networks, that is cloud computing and wider array of formats. So I repeat, idea is reasonable since documentation not only helps maintain consistency of tasks between workers, it helps organization plan for growth in adding or replacing resources. This expanded approach to documentation is meant to allow and support other means of viewing, storing, and revising and distributing documentation, such as via internal and external networks. That is cloud computing, for example, and wider array of formats. Then you can say wider involvement is, let us see what's wider involvement. NXSL asks NXSL asks standard drawers or drafters to consider context of organization. Context of organization. This requires company and auditors who are being asked to certify their quality system to listen not only to customers, employees and suppliers, but to those who their operations may also affect, such as communities in which they operate or have significant influence. Quality planning then becomes a broader search to uncover potentially relevant issues that may impact operations, and development of a quality policy for a newer age, for instance, as a deeper information base to decide how risks might be better anticipated. Do you need again? Context of organization. It says NXSL asks a standard designer or drafter to consider context of organization. This requires company auditor who are being asked to certify their quality system to listen not only to customers, employees and suppliers, but to those who their operations may also affect, such as communities in which they operate or have significant influence. Quality planning then becomes a broader search to uncover potentially relevant issues that may impact operations and development of a quality policy for a newer age. For instance, as a deeper information base to decide how risks might be better anticipated. Then how it works, NXSL works, that's also important. NXSL seeks to balance need for adding rules. NXSL seeks to balance need for adding rules that may need be more specific for a given area, keeping overall structural redundancy to a minimum. As such, its terms and definitions can be added to but can't be deleted or changed. For example, here's a section from one draft of ISO IEC group working on ISO 9001, and that is a forward. High level structure will not be considered by WG24 for development of this working draft. Any such comments that are received will be directed to ISO TC 176 SC2 AHG03 input into JTCG for consideration for forwarding to JTCG during any future revision of NXSL, for which there are no plans at this time. Well, comments for addition to, provided that additional text doesn't contradict or undermine what it says. Comments for additions to NXSL, common text or high level structure will be considered, provided that additional text does not contradict or undermine intent of NXSL text. Now, when will NXSL take effect? Already it has taken effect. ISO 9001-2015 shall not be first ISO management standard to employ NXSL, nor will it be last, but it may be most significant to date. This means it has survived scrutiny of half a dozen technical committees and may be ready for wider use in newest 9001 update will bring. Following is a list of standards that already employ NXSL, and that is ISO IEC 27001 Information Technology, Security Techniques, Information Security Management System. They have already adopted this. ISO 3301 2011 Information and Documentation Management System for Records. They have adopted this. ISO 22301 2012 Societal Security Business Continuity Management Systems. They have done it. ISO 20121 2012 Event Sustainability Management System, and ISO 39001 Road Traffic Safety RTS Management System, ISO 55001, and that is Asset Management, currently on CD ballot with publication on 2014, which has done this. And International Automotive Task Force, that is IATF, ISO TS 16949, International Aerospace Quality Ground, IAQG, AS 9100-1020, British Standard Institutes, OSHAS for 18001. How will we use an XSL to help you? An example how we will use an XSL to help you. This is a direction from ISO itself. Says an example of an XSL's potential may be seen in example of how documents might be more easily managed. For example, Integrated Standards Store specializes in providing basic documents that those seeking multiple standards certification can tailor to their needs using ISO 14001 and ISO 9001. As an example, here are clauses where we have significant current overlap. See, this is a shared requirement. This is ISO 14001 2004, ISO 9001 2008. This is a general requirement was 4141. So there are policy acts, and these are actually they are given their references here. This will not serve any purpose. Well, so we can say on a practical level, NXSL could help improve and streamline this combination. Processes that has already been started through our IMS offers, which see potential for further combining and streamlining joint sections. So now it's an example from our ISO 9001, 14001 all-in-one certification package that combines documents we provide into one easy to execute bundle. As you can see, there are sections that are virtually identical, which are required by both standards that could be further rationalized through a program like NXSL. So insert company name logo here. So they are just giving an example here, quality and environmental manual. So what is that? Document requirement, for example, is 4.2 section general QMS documentation includes what they say. Let me speak broadly. This is a little, yes, I have blown it up. So what actually they say in this QMS documentation includes a documented quality policy and quality objective. A documented quality policy and quality objectives. This quality manual, documented procedures, documents identified as needed for effective planning, operation and control of our processes. Quality records, this is QMS documents includes. Now EMS documents includes this EMS, that is documented environmental policy and objectives. This environment manual, documented procedures, documents identified as needed for effective planning, operations and control of our processes, and environmental records. So what they say, integrated standards. So what they say, no, like to move to my own documents. I like to move to my own that I have published. I have written myself for this. Let me go to open my document now. That is here for your explanations, so that you can understand well what I'm talking of. It's not simply so. This is ISO 9001 Annex SL. So I am opening this now. Let me read this first, so that there's so many. Now, my explanation is ISO 9001 2015, and I did it in 2015 itself, but now I am announcing this. Annex SL replaces ISO guide. Annex SL replaces ISO. This one I also put URL on text of videos. This URL is there. The 5 URLs related to this Annex SL, and you can download that if you wish, but I'm just reading here. ISO 9001 2015 Annex SL, which replaces ISO guide. Quality system. An organization adopts a management system to take care of comfortably achieving its objectives, set objectives. That's what it says. Quality system, it says number 1, an organization adopts a management system to take care of comfortably achieving its set objectives. Number 2, management system comprises various sets of procedures. Management system comprises various sets of procedures. So it says, okay, yeah. Management system comprises various sets of procedures for charting out and implementing various operations or activities so as to successfully reach its intended objectives, which leads to enhanced use of resources, improvement on risk management, and increased customer satisfaction by meeting product or services expectations. Organizations do work on various management systems, say quality management, environment management, safety management, etc. These various systems, in line to ISO 9001-2008, used to work on varying management structures, causing inconvenience to interface with each other. Annex SL, being a high-level management system, has produced a common platform so as all systems that organization adopts can be drawn based on Annex SL designs or format. Such arrangement provides many commonalities in designing system, implementation, monitoring, evaluation, and improvement by trying to eliminate conflicts that existed within ISO 9001-2008 system. All management systems shall have single high-level identical core text with common terms and definitions. High-level structure cannot be changed, but discipline-specific subclasses can be both added or changed. Annex SL applies to all management system standards, publicly available specifications and technical specifications. Revised ISO 9001, 14001 and 45001 shall all be based on Annex SL high-level structure. Now I have tabulated it somewhere here, that is Annex SL structure is indicated below. Let us say clause 1, format, title, scope. Description, the one column is clause, another column is format, title, third column is description and intended actions related to PDCA, that is plan, do, check, act. There are 3 columns in this table. Title and table is annex SL, structure is indicated below, and that is in tabulation form, which is first column is clause, second column is format, title, third column is description and intended actions related to PDCA, and this PDCA is called plan, do, check and act. So let us say clause 1. How many clauses are there? Let me tell you that one. I have taken in this. I have taken in this case 10. Let us say one by one how this is according to structure SL, annex SL. This is a standard. So clause 1, what is scope? Clause 1 in clause column. Scope is in format column. Format, title. So scope, class 1 and scope and include. What it is called? PDCA, actually plan, do, check, act. This includes intended outcome of management system which are industry specific and should be aligned with class 4 context of organization. We'll see 4. Let's go to 2. Normative references includes is in your PDCA. That is PDCA. You can say PDCA is a plan, do, check, act column, and this includes details of reference, standards or publications relevant to particular standard. Now clause 3, terms and definitions, includes in this PDCA detailed terms and definitions applicable to particular specific standard in addition to format related terms and conditions. Then class 4, context of organization, as I talked here. Number 1, context of organization, class 4. It includes understanding organization and its context. Understanding organization and its context. Then understanding needs and expectation of parties. Determining scope of management system. Management system. So there are 4 points in this. This includes, again I'm telling, understanding organization. You have to understand organization and its context, and you have to understand needs and expectations of parties, and you have to understand determining scope of management system and management system. These 4 points are there. Until you understand what organization needs, what actually it plans, and what understanding need and expectation of parties you are working with or working for, and determining the scope of management system and management, all 4 points you have to concentrate upon for this purpose of class 4, context of organization. I repeat, this is understanding organization and context, understanding needs and expectation of parties, determining scope of management system, and points for considerations in this column, same column, are why organization is here, or why is organization here. Alright, why is organization here? Then second one is identify internal and external issue that impact intended outcome. Means we have to see what are factors that impact on us, on this organization's results, which are internal and external issues. Both we have to keep in considerations. Then third is interested parties and their requirements. Who are interested parties and what actually they need, requirements. And we see define scope and set boundaries of management system. You have to define your limits. Then there is employees awareness and involvement. So this was in this tech context of class 4. We move to class 5. Clause 5, leadership It's very important now. Leadership and in column of PDCL go, plan, do, check and act. That is PDCA, plan, do, check and act. In that it is includes leadership and commitment. Policy, one is leadership and commitment, another is policy and organizational roles, responsibilities and authorities. These are three. What is leadership and commitment role? Consideration, what is policy and organizational roles, responsibility and authorities. Points for considerations are: number one, there are about 6 in this. Number one is emphasis on leadership. Not just top management, but leadership is responsible and accountable. Emphasis on leadership. Top management not alone, but leadership is responsible and accountable. Then top management has greater accountability and involvement in organizational management system. Then integrate requirement of management system into organizations are core business, core process. Integrate requirement of management system into organizations core business process. Ensure that management system allocates necessary resources. Ensure management system achieves business intended outcome. Top management responsible to communicate importance of management system and ensure employees awareness and involvement. I'll repeat all these 6. I repeat them because these are little technical and accountability related. Emphasis on leadership, not just top management, but leadership is responsible and accountable. Top management has greater accountability and involvement in organizational management system. Integrate requirement of management system into organization core business process. They have to be active there. You cannot simply say I am an organization head. No. Ensure that management system allocates necessary resources. They have to give resources. Otherwise, how can they work? Ensure management system achieves business intended outcome. Top management is responsible to communicate importance of management system and ensure employees awareness and involvement. When we go to class 6, planning, let us understand what's that, because we have to go all 10 classes which are Annex SL. So class 6 is planning. Planning includes actions to address risks and opportunities. Actions to address risks and opportunities. Management system objectives and planning to achieve these objectives. So is actions to address risks and opportunity. There are risks and opportunity which planner has to do that. That planner has to take into consideration actions to address risks and use opportunities, and management system objectives, what management wants, what management desires, and planning to achieve those objectives. This is the job of planning. Now we will go to consideration of these, and the points are: being risk-based thinking to front, being risk-based thinking to front. Once organizing PN, once organization pinpoints risks and opportunities, it has to work out how to resolve, address through planning. Means we have to create thinking here, risk-based one, risk-based thinking, and you can say pinpoint risk and opportunities both. If there are risks, there are opportunities also. Both must be considered together, and it has to work out how to resolve, address through planning. So planning is little powerful at this point because it has been given added responsibility, more responsibility. This means planning is not just about chart here, it's different kind of scheme planning and practical planning both. So what, who, how and when these risks be addressed. You have to also find timings and location and procedures, means what is that risk, what is that opportunity, who is that and who is responsible for that, how is that and when it is. So you have to identify risk and opportunity. You have to identify who is responsible for that, to do and not to do, to solve, and what is procedure behind that, and what is timing of that. That planner has to decide this planning activity in clause 6. Has to decide. So what, who, how and when these risks be addressed. And this approach replaces preventive action. So when you have all done this, what it says, when you identify risks and opportunity, so these actions actually are preventive actions. Beforehand you know where is risk, what is risk, and you have solution or addresses for that, and then you can say reduces risk for corrective action later. So once you know and you take precautionary measures, preventive measures, then you have reduced quantity of risks to be corrected when these occur in future. You already have covered them. So objectives of management system should be measurable, communicated, aligned to management system policy, and updated as and when required. So these 6 points in this I'll read to you. First is, for consideration, risk-based thinking. Bring risk-based thinking to front. That is what it is. Bring risk-based thinking to front. Once organization pinpoint risks and opportunities, it has to work out how to resolve or address through planning, and what, who and how, and when these risks be addressed. This approach replaces preventive actions, reduces risk for corrective actions later. Objectives of management system should be measurable, communicated, aligned to management system policy, and updated as and when required. Let's move to class 7, support, and then it's do, check, audit, etc. DPCA. Let's say support 7. I'll read support 7, and that is regarding format, title, and description of intended actions. That is PDCA, plan, do, check, act. So I'm going to number 7, and that is after planning, support. It is support, and there are also many considerations in that. So I'll take up that support, and this includes resources. In your PDCA, plan to check and act. That's PDCA, plan to check and act. This includes resource number 1, competence number 2, awareness number 3, communication number 4, documented information number 5. So I repeat: resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. These are points that are included. Support means resources, human resources, equipment resources, material resources, and information resources. Then competence, what competence is there? Personal competence, work competence, trained people and all that. And awareness, they should know everything about what you are going to do. If not in detail, at least they must know what's going to happen. And communication means everybody should know that. And documented information means papers should tell you if you forget. If you refer, you find that information. So resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. Now consideration points for consideration in PDCA: material, equipment and human resources, capacity, potential of organization and individual, qualification of personnel, awareness among all pertinent system and its functioning, written job description, works procedures, safety procedures, quality control procedures, administration methods, etc. Documented information is different than documentation. Whatever information about management and procedures or process in whatever form, such as written text, maps, charts, designs, successful implementation, evidence of compliance of requirements, etc. No system of documents but evidentiary available documents for reference and future use, documented information. I repeat now, as I repeated these 4 points for resources, competence, awareness, communication, documentation, information. Those are considerations are material, equipment and human resources. This relate to that one. Then capacity, potential of organization and individual, which is very explanatory, it's common. Qualification of personnel, awareness among all pertinent systems and functioning, written job description, work procedures, safety procedures, quality control procedures, administration methods, documented information in different than documentation, whatever information about management and procedures or process in whatever form, such as written text, maps, charts, designs, successful implementation, evidence of compliance of requirements. No system of documents but evidentiary available documents for references and future use, documented information. So you can relate to materials. You should have complete knowledge about that. Equipment, complete functional requirement and activities related, and human resources, whatever work they know they must be for this project, for this work. Then capacity of person, organization and individual, both means building, you can say capacity building. Then their qualification of means experiences, training and specialties, whatever they have, and awareness among all pertinent systems and functioning, they should be aware of that. Written job must be clearly written. You cannot simply say you should have done this. It should be clear for everybody what is the minimum requirement of a personnel. Addition can be done, unlimited can be created, but basic responsibilities must be clearly explained to every person. And what is work procedure, what is safety involved, what is quality involved, what is quality control involved, and where is administration methods. All these must be explained to everybody in this page as well as in writing. They must understand what they are doing. Job description should tell that, procedures, work procedures should tell that, safety process should tell that, quality process should tell that, administrative method should tell that. Means no deficiency, no negativism should exist when you are on work. Then documented information is different than documentations. They must have supportive document information, and whatever information about management and procedures or process in whatever form, such as written, text, maps, charts, design, successful implementation, evidence of compliance of requirement, etc. all must be full in reference mode be available, and no system of documents but evidentially available documents must be available for reference and for future use, and that is all documentation. Now we'll go to point number 8, that's operation. Includes operational planning and control. Operational planning and control. We are talking operations. Point for considerations. So it's actually operational planning and control, and which points are in-house processes, outside processes, outsource you can say. What you are doing yourself is in-house, whatever you are doing to others is outside, outsources. Overall process management includes adequate criteria to control these processes and manage planned and unintended changes. So this is related to operation. Then performance evaluation, what is that? It includes, this is clause 9 and that was clause 8 which I said operations. This is clause 9, performance evaluation. This includes monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation. Means monitor, measure, analyze and evaluate. When you see it, monitor this, check this, measure it. Once you monitor, you accept the measure it, and then analyze also, evaluate this. Internal audit, management review. What's the points are? Which factors are? Monitor, measure, analysis and evaluation. Monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation. Then internal audit and management review. And consideration points are points for consideration. Management requires to decide about internal audit to ensure compliance of management system. Management requires to decide about internal audit to ensure compliance of management system. Only audit-based information, audit-based report shall tell that system is whether successfully managed or not managed. Final review by management to ensure its compliance and whether or not system works suitable, adequately and effectively. Clause 10, that's improvement. Now improvement has no limits. First of all, it includes non-conformity and corrective action. If something is not conforming, doesn't conform, certainly corrective actions are required to push it to a level of conformance, and this is continual improvement. And the points 1, that is changing. In changing business environment, processes and objectives vary. To meet which requirements, continual monitoring, evaluation and improvements are a must. Again, in changing business environment, processes and objectives vary. To meet which requirements, continual monitoring, evaluation and improvements are a must. Then move on to down. Now, two most important objectives in revision of ISO 9000 series of standards have been: number 1, to develop a simplified set of standards that shall be equally applicable to small as well as medium and large organizations. For amount and detail of documentation required to be more relevant to desired results of organizations' process activities. These are 2 points we are saying. Objectives of these 2 are: number 1, I says, to develop a simplified set of standards that be equally applicable to small as well as medium and large organizations, and number 2, for amount and detail of documentation required to be more relevant to desired results of organizations' process activities. Certain notes I am giving now. ISO 9001-2015 Quality Management Systems requirement has achieved these objectives, and purpose of this writing is to explain intent of new standard with specific regard to documented information. ISO 9001-2015 allows an organization flexibility in a way it chooses to document its quality management system QMS. This enables each individual organization to determine correct amount of documented information needed in order to demonstrate effective planning, operation and control of its processes, which implementation and continual improvement of effectiveness of its QMS. It is stressed that ISO 9001 series requires documented quality management system and not a system of documents. Let me speak these 3 points once again, because these are very important from abstract viewpoint or from action viewpoint. Says ISO 9001-2015 quality management system requirements being achieved, These objects of purpose for this writing is to explain intent of new standards with specific regards to documented information. Means ISO 9001-2015 allows an organization flexibility in a way it chooses to document its quality management system, that is QMS. This enables each individual organization to determine correct amount of documented information needed in order to demonstrate effective planning, operation and control of its processes, with implementation and continual improvement of effectiveness of QMS. And stress that ISO 9001 requires documented quality management system and not a system of documents. So what is documented information? Definitions and references are: term documented information was introduced as part of common high-level structure. Common high-level structures HLS and common terms for management system standards MSS. Definition of documented information can be found in ISO 9000 clause 3.8. Documented information can be used to communicate a message, provide evidence of what was planned has actually been done, or knowledge sharing. Now, some main objectives of an organization's documented information, independent of whether or not it has implemented a formal QMS, and that documented information. Communication of information. Communication of information is as a tool for information transmission and communication. Type and extent of documented information shall depend on nature of organization's products and processes, degree of formality of communication systems, and level of communication skills within organization and organization culture. Let me repeat this. Communication of information as a tool for information transmission and communication. Type and extent of documented information shall depend on nature of organization's products and processes, degree of formality of communication system, and level of communication skills within organization and organization culture. Evidence of conformity. Evidence of conformity. Provision of evidence that what was planned has actually been done. Means evidence of conformity means provision of evidence that whatever was planned has actually been effected with or done. And then knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing And then it's to disseminate and preserve organizations' experiences. A typical example would be technical specifications, which can be used as a base for design and development of a new product or service. A list of commonly used terms and definitions relating to documented information is presented in ISO 9001-2015 Annex A. It must be stressed that according to ISO 9001-2015 Clause 753, control of documented information requirements. Documents may be in any form, whatever form or type of medium, and definitions of document in ISO 9000-2015 Clause 385 gives following examples. Number 1, paper. Number 2, magnetic. Number 3, electronic or optical computer disk. Number 4, photograph. Number 5, master sample. So paper, magnetic, electronic or optical computer disk, photograph, master sample. ISO 9001-2015 documentation requirement. ISO 9001-2015 Clause 4.4. Quality management systems and its processes requires an organization to maintain documented information to an extent necessary. ISO 9001-2015 Clause 4.4. Quality management systems and its processes requires an organization to maintain documented information to an extent necessary to support operation of processes and retain documented information to an extent necessary to have confidence that processes are being carried out as planned. Clause 751 generally explains that quality management system documentation shall include: number 1, documented information required by this international standard. Documented information required by this international standard. Number 2, documented information determined by an organization as being necessary for effectiveness of quality management system. Now note, after this clause, make it clear that extent of quality management system QMS documented information can differ from one organization to another due to: number 1, size of organization and its type of activities, processes, products and services. Number 2, complexity of processes and their interactions. Number 3, competence of persons. So there are 3 points that can impact upon information, documented information in your quality management system. Number 1 is size of organization and its type of activities, processes, products and services, complexity of processes and their interactions, competence of persons. All documented information that forms part of QMS has to be controlled in accordance with Clause 75, documented information. Documented information needed be maintained by organization for purpose of establishing a QMS, and say documented information needed be maintained by organization for purposes of establishing a QMS as high level transversal document. These include: number 1, scope of quality management system, Clause 4.3, documented information necessary to support operation of processes, Clause 4.4, quality policy, Clause 5, Quality object is class 6.2. This documented information is subject to requirements of class 7.5. I repeat, documented information needed be maintained by organizations for purpose of establishing a QMS high-level transversal documents. These include number 1, scope of quality management system, class 4.3. 2 is documented information necessary to support operations of processes, clause 4.4. 3. Quality policy, class 5. 4. Quality objects, class 6.2. 5. This documented information is subject to requirements of class 7.5. Documented information maintained by organization for purpose of communicating information necessary for organization to operate low-level specific documents. Documented information maintained by organization, documented information maintained by organization for purpose of communicating information necessary for organization to operate low-level specific documents. This is C44. Although ISO 9001-2015 does not specifically require any of them, examples of documents that can add value to QMS may include, I repeat this paragraph, documented information maintained by organization for purpose of communicating information necessary for organization to operate low-level specific documents. Means you have to decide as an organization which documents are important for you to meet your requirements. Means this is not mandatory, but you have to select your operation activities which actually are supported by that documentation. That is, although ISO 9001-2015 does not specifically require any of them, examples of these is documents that can add value to QMS may include is organization chart, for example, top management to line management, organization chart. Number 2, process maps, process flow charts, and or process descriptions, that is engineering complete. So one was organization chart, other one is engineering, that is process maps, process flow charts, and or process descriptions, that is engineering. So it's a procedures, is technical and administrative, because your own procedures. ISO 9000 cannot define that. Now, work and or test instructions, that is IFCs. Then specifications, project specification, general specification, and particular specifications. Then documents containing internal communications, memos, mails, methods. Then production schedules, that's descriptive or schedules. Then approved suppliers list of all vendors. Then test and inspection plans, that's checklists and ITPs. Quality plans is site or project based documents. Then quality manuals, organization based documents, strategic plans and forms. Now, where it exists, all shall be documented information. Where it exists, all such documented information is also subject to requirement clause 7.5. Now, this documented information needed be retained by organization for purpose of providing evidence of result achieved or records. These include, documented information needed be retained by organization for purpose of providing evidence of result achieved or records. Then these include documented information to an extent necessary to have confidence that processes are being carried out per planning. Class 4.4. Number 2. Evidence of fitness for purpose of monitoring and measuring resources. Class 7.151. Then evidence of basis used for calibration of monitoring and measurement resources when no international or national standards exist. Class 7152. Evidence of competence of persons. Evidence of competence of persons doing work under control of organization that affects performance and effectiveness of QMS. Class 72. Results of review and new requirements for products and services. Clause 823. Records needed demonstrate that design and development requirements have been met. Clause 812. Requires records on design and development inputs. Clause 833. Records of activities of design and development control. Clause 834. Records of design and development outputs. Clause 835. Design and development changes including results of review and authorization of changes and necessary actions. 836. Records of evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance and evaluation of external providers and other actions arising from these activities. Clause 841. Evidence of unique identification of outputs when traceability is a requirement. Clause 852. Records of property of customer or external provider that is lost, damaged or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use and of its communication to owner. Clause 853. Results of review of changes for production or service provision, persons authorizing change and necessary actions taken. Clause 856. Records of authorized release of products and services for delivery to customer including acceptance criteria and traceability to authorizing persons. Clause 86. Records of non-conformities, actions taken, concessions obtained and identification of authority deciding actions in respect of non-conformity. Clause 87. Results of evaluation of performance and effectiveness of QMS. Clause 911. Evidence of implementation of audit program and audit results. Clause 922. Evidence of results of management reviews. Clause 933. Evidence of nature of non-conformities and subsequent actions taken. Clause 1022. Results of corrective action whatever. Clause 1022. Let me repeat, it's a very complicated 121 here. Let me see again and see. Let me sit down for a few minutes because I'm tired. Okay. So what I'm saying here is, where it exists, all such documented information is also subject to requirements. Clause 75. What I say is, documented information that's required to be retained by organization for purpose of providing evidence of results or achieved records. These include, number 1, documented information to an extent necessary to have confidence that processes are being carried out per planning. Clause 4.4. And number 2, evidence of fitness for purpose of monitoring. Fitness for purpose of monitoring and measuring resources. Clause 7151. Then evidence of basis used for calibration of monitoring and measurement resources. That's when no international or national standards exist. So evidence of basis used for calibration of monitoring and measurement resources when no international or national standards do exist. That's clause 7152. 4 is evidence of competence of persons doing work under control of organization that affects performance and effectiveness of QMS, clause 7.2. Then 5 results of review and new requirements for products and services, clause 8.2.3. Records needed demonstrate that design and development requirements have been met, clause 8.3.2. And 7 is records on design and development inputs, clause 8.3.3. Records of activities of design and development controls, clause 8.3.4. Then 9 is records of design and development outputs, clause 8.3.5. Then design and development changes including results of review and authorization of changes and necessary actions, clause 8.3.6. Then records of evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance and reevaluation of external providers and any other or some other actions arising from these activities, clause 8.4.1. Evidence of unique identification of outputs when traceability is a requirement in clause 8.5.2. And records of property of customer or external provider that's lost, damaged or otherwise found to be unsuitable for use and of its communication to owner, clause 8.5.3. And result of review of changes for production or service provision, persons authorizing change and necessary actions taken, clause 8.5.6. And records of authorized release of products and services for delivery to customer, including acceptance criteria and traceability to authorization persons, authorizing persons, clause 8.6. Records of non-conformities, actions taken, concessions obtained and identification of authority deciding actions in respect of non-conformity, clause 8.7. And result of evaluation of performance and effectiveness of QMS, clause 9.1.1. Then evidence of implementation of audit program and audit results, clause 9.2.2. Evidence of results of management reviews, clause 9.3.3. Evidence of nature of non-conformities and any or whatever subsequent action taken, clause 10.3.2. 10.2.2. Then result of whatever corrective action, clause 10.2.2. And then we say organizations are free to develop other records. There is no restriction. Organizations are free to develop other records that may be needed, demonstrate conformity of their processes, products, services and quality management system where they exist. All such records are also subject to requirements of clause 7.5. So organizations are free to develop other records that may be needed, demonstrate conformity of their processes, products, services and quality management system where they exist. All such records are also subject to requirements of clause 7.5. So this was about NXSL definition. In fact, you can say this is kind of definition that I was giving to explanations. I have 4 more that are specific. One, this was very general. This was NXSL replaces IS 9000 guides. This is a very general one. I'll give you 4 more which are related to our works, which are very important, of course. You can say very important. I'll start them as well. Meanwhile, I'm just interested to explain what we have gone through. This again, the quality system. It has gone through quality system. What is quality system in this, and what is NXSL stating about these clauses. All these 10 clauses it covered, as I explained to you. It covered your classes, and then it says about your classes includes considerations points, etc. And then also it says explanations of these means important points, and that means documented information. It's also very important one, and this requirements and information of this, it is given to us in details. And of course, we have here, if you just see, you can just listen, means it's about, this was NXSL. Then there's also another one which will take up, and that is NXSL company. You can say, let me see, NXSL company is NXSL company plus EPC contracting facility plus building construction template. That's another one which you take up. And also here's another one. This says contracting general RCC buildings construction template will take up. And also there is this is the RCC design buildings template will take up. And then we'll say this supervising management RCC buildings construction template we take up. These are all very much related to us, and I'll explain to you all this in coming days. And meanwhile, I am now also interested to inform that along with this, when we cross quality system, we'll jump to FIDEC, because that's also very significant and important. But meanwhile, I close this file of this quality file, and so that we can move further down what we're talking about. And as I said in our process, that we are interested in quality work, safety work, and technical work. Means a person who is involved on project prosecution, project engineering, or project construction, and all those who are supporting. Now here support or lead got different meanings, but one should not forget, without support you cannot move further. On project sites, when you work, you execute, you are leading that in construction, but one that supports from designs, from materials, from, you can say, consultants, from government, from departments, from procedures, from specifications. And that is actually a tedious job, a job which requires, first of all, you have to concentrate on your job. That is very important. If you cannot concentrate, you cannot do anything. Do not get nervous. If you get nervous, you are thrown off yourself. You throw off yourself, because this job cannot be done in one day. It takes years and many months also. So if you are pragmatic, you are experienced, you know how to move, have got confidence in you, you have capacity, you have stress resistance, you have nervous resistance, you have stable mind, you have stable personality, you can absorb all weathers, you can sit where it is required to sit down, even without chair or table. You have to take some no good food sometimes. Means all those conditions you have to encounter when you start some project. Not only you, your workers, your seniors, your colleagues shall also be subject to same environment. But that is something else. Means important issue is work. We have to dedicate to work, devote time to work, and that's why I say concentration. Concentration, keeping abreast all your departments, all your supports, and to extract whatever you can extract from those supports for purpose of this project. And that's where your management capacity works. As I said before, in beginning, you have to first of all, once you get project to construction or design and construction, as a man of that project or representative on the project, your duty is to go through all documents which are called contract documents. That's the important term. People do not understand what are contract documents. It should be clear, every document initial for project by both parties, and also those documents which are standardized. All are contract documents. Means, let us assume, what they say, you had bidded, you had submitted bid, those were bid documents supported by tender bond or bid bond, and you are awarded bid. So you shall have to get all revised documents in designation of contract documents. Previously, pre-contract, these were bid documents. Now status rises to contract documents, means work documents. Those bid documents were not work documents, those were assessment documents, estimation documents, but these are work documents. For example, number one document is your award letter. That letter which you got from engineer, or not, sorry, from owner, that this work is awarded to you. You start this in so many days. This is date of start, and this date of completion, or this is duration of this project, and cost of this project, or price of this project is it's a lump sum price, and this person is engineer, or whatever details are there, and that complete information is given to you. Then you have to sign one day agreement, also contract agreement. So this document you get is an informative document that you are awarded this contract and mobilize immediately. But that time you have to demand all document. They may say it will take 1 week or 5 days or 4 days to get all the, no problem, that works, because meanwhile you have not sufficient time. You have to move here and there. You have to establish yourself, because this contract document shall generate another contract document, that's called contract form. A contract form means which describes, which mentions your price, your conditions, what are conditions of this project which you are named in, who is project manager, who is staff there, who is superintendent, and contract form will say this is price for this contract, this is time duration, this is date of start, this is date of completion, this is your performance bond money, this document is that document, and then this is liquidated damages, and this is supported by various filled up formats like details of your materials, or details of your company projects you did, or details of your CVs you have to submit, and all that, and name of project manager or representative. That contract form will be there. So letter of award, contract form, 2 documents are here. Then you can say complete drawing sets and specifications. Specifications is first is project specification or particular specification, then is general specifications, and of course codes. And then you may have say all drawings, all divisions of drawings, and all BOQs whatsoever are these. This way you can say all these documents are contract documents. And in addition to that, you have to work out on shop drawings, the working drawings, all that. You can say in priority wise, number one is letter of intent and contract. Then priority goes to something else, technical issues or submission issues, and this continuously like that. All these are contract documents. You can say contract itself, contract conditions, and then materials you order for this project, and whatever you do, that this shall be every day for part of contract, or yourself, as much as you get, as new as you get these informations, these reliabilities, that will use them. All these documents means you or your representative or whosoever is authorized for that person shall sign receipt of document, and you have to sign them. Then the engineer has to sign that for, or he should take for consideration of UAE. So these all contract documents require a lot of study. Specification itself is a big volume. Drawings, big architectural drawings, a structural drawing before that, site layout or project layout, and underground services drawing not available. You have to draw from your departments. Then a structural drawing, architectural drawing, all types of services and structural drawings, and so many services. In all drawings are there. You have to take out them. From that, by application, by whatever means, you have to you'll discover site services, also existing services, whatever the how to remote divert them is depending upon your case. So you have to, as an engineer, you have to study all those documents gradually. You cannot study but superficially. You can study immediately means you have a list of materials, which materials you are going to submit for this project. You have a list of drawings. If you not able, you yourself propose a list of drawings. Practically according to our these are drawings, and you can say it's kind of a wage, it's kind of a paper that you are going to work with this. Once you go through these documents, you means you are now ready with your program as you did before, means your schedule and your site mobilization progress. You can do that one very well. There's no harm in that. You have plenty of time for 30 days. If you wish, in 30 days you can do that. Planning is not whole project. It's very simple one. Once you got that power, you thought your everything was, now you see that power. What is this guy is a alright. So you have to study this without any delay. No question of any delay. No delay is allowed on that, because if you delay means you will delay your submissions of materials. You have to select your subcontractors if not previously selected. You have to select your material supplying vendors. You have to select your personal also, staff and workers. There are a lot of exercises there. You have to submit your complete proposals, and you have to write also execution statement not previously submitted or included on surrender, and you have to submit your details of method statement that you are going to submit for this project, and details of or list of shop drawings and working drawings, or structural architectural coordination drawing, or external services drawing. You are going to detail out each and every activity that would be shifted to you can say. So you are occupied person there means it's not one day or 2 day. It takes 2 or 3 months minimum to bring site to action, and that's where your use is very important in that time. When you understand all these procedures, that time you can say that you are really a field engineer, because you have to deal with all, you have to coordinate with all. It's not simply sitting in the office and writing something or doing something. No, you cannot do that. You have to move to all departments. You have to move to consultants. You have to move to all vendors sometimes, or vendors come to you and suppliers come to you, or you have to go to see market actual prices, or what we are actually going to do that. This is important as well. Then you can say that you are ready with material submission, you are ready with details of material. You have to negotiate with those people who are going to supply to you material, and you have to negotiate with those people who are going to be, when your vendor has to do, you don't have. You have to look after for an alternative route. How best can you solve this problem? You have to employ someone in your office, your assistant, or other to take care of letters, writings, and you take care of this Shahin Wag. Where is important is that we must understand our role, and role is this, that you have to initiate yourself with every discipline as site agent. You have to discipline with planning engineer, discipline, you have to attach to planning engineer, or planning do the same thing, means that person shall submit your paper to engineer, and then you understand that it's a question of not doing that. Now, for example, you are taking all these responsibilities side by side. My question here is, you will deal with safety and safety methods. I have given in my safety talks. There are so many talks, around 34 talks are there. You can go to my these safety related video, SH environment videos, and you can know why are safety is required. I'm not going to repeat that in these talks, because these are actually I'm going to concern quality, means people should know quality. Of course, you are supposed to know strength, but I'm losing strength nowadays because of something. So you have to see about your own activities which you are going to do, carry out, and engineer or quality engineer shall inspect them. Now, for example, I have a building, and that has fourth, first is third story building in the path that requires expansion. Requires occurrence. What can you do? It's very old. So it's 200 years. If it's 200 years old, it's, how can you do that? Either demolish it, do it again, or you think of. Alright, no problem for that. Question is your proceeding activities. You have a building, you have to start, you have taken all coordinates this way and that way, levels you have fixed, all that has happened. The question is you are setting out plan, your survey has done that. That must be reviewed. So you have to review that. You have to ensure coordinates of all corners according to time they are, according to those they are. Because where there's no such plan, direct one house will be constructed, there you cannot say you have planning issue. Now, once you have laid out, means you have laid out, inspections be done, your service is giving you service, okay, fine, take up this, and this guy could not even take off. See, you have an inspection for layout. Let's see what inspections you have. You got an inspection for layout, setting out. Then you have to submit a method statement, and that's regarding how shall you excavate that area. Because excavation cannot be simply excavation alone. You have to ensure services, existing services do exist or do not exist. And if you don't have drawing of that, this department is unable to clear something to you. In that case, you can say, I have layout. The excavation method we have given it for approval. But meanwhile, we can start excavation once we get permit from authority. Authority is involved. If that authority is involved, they use, in certain cases, oil machineries are there. Oil products are the oil machinery or refiners are the, those are called authorities in those areas, operating authorities. And then once you have planned, then only you have to write to them, you have to submit application about job, about work and about contract. So they started dealing from that angle. And that is your line of action. May say that one line of action is takeover of site and dealings with consultants and all engineering and commuting etc. and programming submission and insurance submission and site establishment layout submission. Like that you have done your job. Now actually you have to do it on site, so you need all information because it may be for 2 years or 1 year, you cannot avoid this. So your line of action is then live. You have submitted your drawings and matter etc. Then this guy came, he wanted his job, this okay. And then say your line of action is excavation after getting work permit. So there is an administrative requirement as well as there is a work requirement. As I said, studying drawing and understanding is your technical requirement, your contractual requirement to know what you are going to do, and then this, as I said, protection of these lines and services which you got permission from this department, Of course, this line of action, the quality guy has to work along with you. It's not if I okay, then you say, where is so your liability going on increasing, means your line of actions are going to increasing. So you have started excavation. You got permit of excavation, you started excavation and formed that body, you are working on this. Means services protection is very important. How you protect, you discuss with that authority. If it's required to divert it to diverted line, no, you say no, we will manage that, is no problem, you keep it as a real cover, I put something on that, you have to do that. So it is in 2001. Alright. So you are going to do excavation according to your proposed method. In by chance you discover something which was not shown on drawing issued to you by department. It is a service, and by chance you get something. So immediately you have to inform to that department some accident is this kind of accident. You are not aware of the service, and if you are aware, you will use trial it manually, but you do not do that, an accident. So you have immediately to call or to go to that department and come and complain. I have closed this site, it will take some time. By tomorrow it will be okay. That is point you understood. It's a difficult one, not easy one. So that point we have to understand. That is excavation, permission, excavation both. If there is a problem in excavation, you did that. If excavation is by rock hammer, you do that. If excavation by ordinary soil, you do that. Whatever way you have to reach at formation level. You have to decide half footings you would do once, or whole footings you would do once, or one by one you would do. Okay, now we will move further. Your dressing level has come, means you have reached a level where you have to work with foundation concrete. That level has reached, but it's uneven, it's not clear. So you have to dress out excess soil from there and then compact it using plate vibrators. Generally people here I don't see, they just use that natural broken ground, disturbed ground, and put concrete on that, which would sink in future certainly. So where is quality criteria now? Safety, of course, you have done. Engineer shall deal with safety guy also and take safety, how to go into excavation, how to barricade these excavations, fences already on site, and how to enter site, whether by ladder or by ramp. You have to see ladders are there or not. There means whatever excavation safeties are required per safety plans and safety method statements, that must be complied with. That's part of your site manager or site engineer. You are responsible for that in consultation with safety guy, or you pass whole responsibility by giving resources to that man if that person is also site dedicated. Examination is for quality. Safety not a major problem on such a small depth. Then exact layout or setting out, that's one point. Exact leveling of profile of formation level, that requires attention. There will be confined site or boundary managed site, or there will be site where there is no major room, more room, but there is a free site as well. So what quality says here? When you have excavated, you should not excavate excessively except working space, and you should not excavate depth more than required. That is structurally not accepted for good quality. These points should be very, very clear. If somebody says, no, I have only 20 centimeter more or 10 centimeter less, no, that is not acceptable. Point is because you have to confirm your design bearing capacity also, or design parameters also, which is very important point if it's part of your job, your contract. Then you have to bring machine or truck also for bearing capacity, experimental bearing capacity testing. This means your truck should enter that formation, which means you cannot excavate independent footings. You have to take mass excavation of that portion using a earthen ramp, so that truck can come into that and take bearing capacity, and that bearing capacity can be taken at different levels as well, just to ensure which one is better. Because sometimes what happens, your area itself is rocky, And sometimes it's clay soil, and sometimes it's silty soil, sometimes it's sandy soil. It depends upon what is that. It depends on soil report, what soil report says, and you have to test that bearing capacity. Whereas quality engineer must be there in addition to in your construction engineer. Both have to confirm, and then we consultant requires as well should be there, so that we can certify and document that bearing capacity and ensure that whatever was defined in contract or specifications or soil report, that works well. That works well. That is major point here we have to understand. So this is quality point here. This is quality starts here. Inspection of setting out, leveling of depths, excavation formation level, testing, etc., compaction and field density, and once and density a bearing capacity test or some other test was required. So before giving clearance of that, you have to ensure that bearing capacity exists to an extent required, and according to how many tests you have to consult, that's according to codal requirement. Field density you have to consult, field density test you have to opt for, fractal density test you have to consult, FD is called field right density, and also you can see bearing capacity, these are done. And if you get clearance of all from your quality and government quality or engineers quality, I should not say government, engineers quality, then you have to start preparations for your blinding concrete, or if meanwhile you can say is required to apply pesticide, you have to apply that as well. Well, then you have to shutter up for blinding, where blinding is not in deep 50 mm average, but sometimes it can be more or less due to unevenness of ground. So blinding is done, let us say M15, 20 or up to 25, sometimes it happens like that. And keep in mind that you are somewhere ready with parallel activities of fabrication of forms and steel, fabrication of steel reinforcement. So your quality program goes like this. Of course, this is blinding concrete, not very strong, but you take it from ready mix and lay it. Then you have to start applying on this, you can say, soil protection, that's waterproofing people call it, member of waterproofing will generally call it, but actually it is soil protection for concrete. Concrete should be protected for adverse impact, but soils what you actually use call it. And you have to check your lining, center lining and form lining, and apply this, and then again layout of foundations to it. So inspection of this layer is also required by whatever testing, vacuum test and approvals is all part of quality here. And then you have to start your foundation, substructure activities of RCC, which are fabrication of forms and their erection, fabrication or cutting and bending of steel rebars and placing on site. And if there is services is there, which you have to ensure some underground or below ground sewerage pipes are there, or water pipes inlet may be there, or somewhere, whatever it is. There could be any services. You have to be sure from your plumbing drawings or from your other drawings, and you lay, if not full pipes, if full pipe is required, you lay full pipe as well. Embedded pipe, or if you think blockouts will do, I don't think blockouts will do number of services. So we have to be careful about this. Means engineering as well as quality both move together, because coordination is a part of engineering and this quality both move together. So you have to work for your shuttering formwork as well as steel fabrication and pouring of concrete and leveling, etc., surveying of top level of that, dimensioning of these footings or whole foundation, and whatever is there, controls of ready mix concrete, because you are going to this in a small quantity. Foundation is generally considerable quantity, you have to do all that. And you have to make sure also if there is some water bar is required in certain water retaining structure or reservoirs, any, if there's someone, you have to take care of that. You have to procure water bar for that between raft and wall of that one. On sometimes waterproofing composition of concrete is also required in that. This is all engineering, and you can say this is quality and construction, all are there. So all these points you must understand before starting your work. You have to study them, and because you have already done trial mix of concrete, if you are not done, you should have done. It takes time. You cannot simply say in one day you can do it. It takes time. It reaches our cube strength, and probably other tests also done. The tests of aggregate, coarse aggregate, test of fine sand or test of fine aggregate, test of if required cement also, and test of water can also be done. So these tests of course take some time. So you should have been ready for that even before you had coming to site, because it's important. And we are now jumping to, so only this level is 12, 13, and these tests are very important to be conducted. These are quality controls, and once you get all this information, then you have to ensure elongation tests of aggregate and grading of aggregate, means fineness modulus and what grade it is. All these are technical and quality control methods. You get all the tests, and then you get ready mix ready for implementation of your trial mix. Until then you cannot concrete. And when you are having all these documents along with availability of water, I don't know what is available where, so whatever quantity of water is required, that must be available. And that is where we think of. We have to think that way, means we cannot just live like alone. We have to move in a comprehensive manner. After all, it is engineering, construction, quality and safety as well. So when we procure, when we have done preparatory works, these are called preparatory works actually: form work, fabrication, erection and reinforcement, cutting, binding and placement. And also we have to cast precast covers for concrete before starting all this. If you don't have plastic covers, you have to take precasting of covers, of course, with the specifics. And of course then we have to pour concrete after inspection of these activities, and that is pouring of concrete, which is very reasonable and reliable. Now after that, when we are ready to complete this activity, we have to start about sub columns also. If columns are there, sub columns are there, or if there's something else, strip beam is there to do all that, even then columns will be there. So we have to be completely ready for purpose of footing structure along with water stop, if any. If you have water stop, we have to do welding of that water PVC bar or whatever is there. We have to be completely ready, and our inspection request must be ready, our checklist must be ready. Both would be required when you submit documents for this. Means what is in inspection list before our checklist, both should be written there according to approved methods of your body. You can say, if you are ready with that, ready with what? If you are so sure that you are going to do this in this way, you have to call for inspection. First you inspect yourself. When your foreman comes and says ready, then you can call your quality guy who can inspect lines, levels. Line should be according to drawing, levels should be according to drawing, and this bar bending, scissor and fabrication, placement of steel whatsoever, and positions of vertical columns, stub columns bar, and water bar location, welding joints, whatsoever it is. All that, if ready and cleaning is done, you can call for inspection from consultant if such comes. So you have two inspections, and your guy will see, watch, and if that exempts him from main level, from mainstream, then when you have complete documentation ready, inspection text is ready, inspection form is ready, concrete inspection form, you clean everything, and that form, with this form, your inspector, your quality internal guy, that person inspects and clears and then calls your engineer resident engineer, and when clearance is given, you have placed order for You have placed order for concrete ready mix, and that ready mix is there means it's of course it's mask not mask actually it's quantity of concrete. Then you have to take control of your ready mix. You have to inspect documents, and you have to take this. You have to slump and temperatures as well, and you have to place order according to engineering requirement, means what should be frequency of a transmission to come, and we have to tell them what sort of concrete is, what grade of concrete is, and element is foundation or what columns are there. Then you have to be reliant on that, means you cannot simply cut off short of that. You should not cut short of that. You have to be practically professional in that way. You have to take cubes according to requirement. You have to give frequency of transmission mixes, what one transmission, the first, the second transmission come this time, and third 10 minutes frequency or 5 minutes frequency or half an hour frequency. It depends upon your plan, how you plan to pour those footings. There will be 2 footings or 20 footings or 40 footings, depending on how you're taking up that. As many footings better, because your transmitter will dispose of quickly. And if you need pump or you need can, that also have to explain to that vendor, means I need mobile pump or I need that pump, and this boom length because of my locations are like this. So this is all beginning, and you can say you can get much information. You have to take out all information, and you have to then pour to set the time with vendor, means what time concrete comes, maybe night, maybe day, maybe early morning, or depending on temperature, environment, how it is, and that's actually that's happens. So this happens. That means you are bound by that. You are bound by that, and you get concrete, and you take all records of concrete to receive all concretes, then examine, test all concrete, and then do it. And concrete sport, say in few hours after that, you start giving compound and footings and protect them all and clean site and all that. Means this is a kind of, I say, activities based inspections, means your construction involvement, your quality involvement, your safety involvement, your controls on concrete material requirement, the water requirement, all that you do like that. And if so required, video or photograph, can take that. That's why I'm just trying to tell you your role in that. And with this I'll close this today, because I'll take up tomorrow again. And this is my again informative certification, and this is my certification membership of fellow, and this is certification of chartered engineer again. Thank you very much, channel. I close it today for live. Goodbye. Thank you very much.